Nichts Pfiff so ist. Yeah. Fan and web. Yeah, but the roll. Okay, this is the Mazda fuel pump. Fuel assembled for a Protege, 1995. Just want to show the pinout real quick. The two that are on this side connect up directly to the motor. Okay, fuel pump motor. Got bigger wires on there. The ones that are on this side hook up the sensors to the ground. So if you hook this on the ground lug, connect this, the one that's top toward the lug here. This is on ohms. When it's at the top, it's about 3 to 4 ohms. Bottom of mine's about 113 ohms. That's on kilo ohms there. If I hooked it between ground and this lug here, which is toward the lug, lower to the plate, it's about 1.5 K. So it's 1500 ohms. That's the pressure sensor here. So when I first was messing around with this, I went through and ohmed out between here and here. Didn't get anything because the pressures are screwed up. The sock was busted on this. So I just wanted to document how it hooks up there. Here's a fuel pump I pulled out of a 1995 Mazda Protege. These two terminals over here on the left, vertically, they connect up to the fuel pump. The ones on the right, there's another clip here which I believe is just a ground on the unit. This one just basically stopped running, and I took off the screws, the panhead screws, and I pulled the tubes off here, undid the clip. This just looks like an absolute mess. The filter here looks like it completely disintegrated. It's had about 4 gallons of gas in it, and the last 2 times I put gas in it, I put non-ethanol gas, but the car hasn't been run much, so it just must have curdled. So it looks like the fuel filter just, the pre-filter just must have disintegrated here. It sucked up a bunch of crap in there. Wasn't that hard to get out. I think in another YouTube video somebody mentioned that you have to replace the screws. These screws here on mine, the panhead screws, were absolutely easy to take off. So maybe they didn't ever tighten it once. We bought this car new, so it's never had the fuel pump off. But they were actually fairly loose. This one over here is hard to get at. And I've wiped this off before I took the top off. I might have to siphon the gas out. We got some brake clean here. Let's just see if it gets any of the crap off. Of course, I'm going to replace the pump. The real question is the sender hosed. Hope that doesn't hurt it. I think that's a pressure sensor. Some of these have a pressure sensor. Going into one of the wires in the sender. It's got a gray wire and a red wire. Looks like the red hooks up to one end of the wiper. So it might use ground. It might use the ground there as one terminal. And then the red might be the wiper. And the gray might be the mystery sensor. So the two wires there may not just be, it might be fuel level, and then the other one is the sensor. And have to investigate this. I had another car I had like this, different one, that this was just all full of crap. It was just completely junked up with crap. Just like this molasses. To look in the shop manual what the resistance specs are. That feels just all gummed up. It's not easy to turn. This type of hose that goes on a fuel pump is not just regular hose. It's got to be a hose that is designed for immersion. If you use a regular piece of fuel hose on here, after a while it'll get screwed up. So, word to the wise. I've seen that happen. It just gets all gooped up. I had to wiggle these hoses a bunch to get it to slide off. I kind of pulled, but I took a pair of channel locks and kind of just held it right here at the edge in case I boogered it up. And moved it back and forth to get it to move. And I took a little screwdriver and stuck underneath here to kind of make sure it wasn't physically hooked on. Got this one off first and I kind of pushed the assembly forward. After I had all the bolts undone, pulled this one off. And there's the connectors. Again, two in the right are the pump. Two in the left are sensors. I believe the red looks like it's the fuel level, and I think this might be the some type of pressure sensor. But that is really hokey. That is not free to move at all. This car's got like 116,000 miles. I haven't been driven that much, so that's the worst thing you can do. I'm going to let this just sit out here and dry out. Now, since this got it out of here, this is a gallon paint can. I've got a piece of rubber I can put on top of this. I'm going to put it on top of the tank and put a weight just to kind of seal it up until I get a tank here a little bit later. I'm going to use a little hand pump and pump out the bad gas. Here's what the cover looks like. It's got 4 screws. Take them off. I undid this just so I could get it off. It just fits in this groove. Pop that off the fuel pump. This was a little bit harder. I couldn't figure that out. I may have muffed that up, but it's still usable. And I marked where the Phillips screws go. It's pretty obvious, but so I got to get in there with a hand pump. Pump that out of there. You have to undo the seat. We're going to put just a piece of gasket under there. Don't want any sparks around here. That's a 1 gallon lid. And then I'm going to take this broken piece of Harbor Freight vise. This is the part that I think didn't break. We're going to put this on top as a dead weight to kind of seal that off, so I don't have too many fumes going in here before I get the. Got to get a couple gas cans here. There we go. We got just a piece of loose gasket material I had. Top of a 1 gallon paint can, and probably a vise that weighs probably, I don't know, 10 pounds, say. I got these kind of pulled aside. That'll just kind of seal off a little bit better. Put the seat back on and get a hand pump and pump this out into probably bring a couple 5 gallon old cans here and pull the gas out to use it in something else, or just figure what I can use to get rid of it or burn it up or something. Here's all the screws I got saved. Keeping them in a bag. Good idea. Seat hooks on with a clip here, and a clip here, and they clicked on over here. So you can pull the seat up. On another YouTube video, a guy said to replace the screws that hold the plate that's on. And I took those off a couple weeks ago and loosened them up, but I didn't use one of these. I found a better screwdriver that would fit the head, and They're all fairly easy to take off, so maybe it just depends on, this car doesn't have any rust hardly on it, but maybe it's just depending on how they built it. But this has never had the fuel pump off yet, till now.